The Rose Knight Foundation Bible Study. Introduction to Biblical Archaeology. The relationship between archaeology and the Bible is a complex and dynamic field of study. Archaeology seeks to uncover physical evidence of human activity, while the Bible provides a written record of historical events, beliefs, and practices. Corroboration and verification. In some instances, archaeological findings have confirmed or provided context to biblical accounts. Sites like Jericho and Jerusalem have uncovered artifacts and structures that align with the biblical narrative. Challenges and discrepancies. On the other hand, archaeology has also posed challenges for certain biblical accounts, leading to debates among scholars. For example, the timing of the destruction of certain cities or the existence of particular people may not always align perfectly with the biblical record. Cultural insight. Archaeology offers insight into the daily life customs and beliefs of ancient civilizations mentioned in the Bible. Objects like pottery, tools, and inscriptions help to show us a picture of the world in which biblical events took place. Interdisciplinary approach. The field of biblical archaeology necessitates collaboration between theologians, historians, and archaeologists. It requires an understanding of ancient languages, cultures, and the historical context of the Bible. Ethical considerations. The use of the Bible as a guide in archaeological exploration has led to discussions about the ethical implications, including potential biases and the role of faith in scientific inquiry. This presentation will edify you. In this presentation, we look to unravel the ancient archaeological blessings still available for mankind to view to this day. We hope by the end you will have a strong understanding of biblical, relevant archaeological sites. Historical significance. Ancient city, Jerusalem's history dates back over 3,000 years, making it one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. Cultural crossroads. Strategically located, Jerusalem has been a crossroads of various cultures and civilizations, including the Canaanites, Israelites, Romans, Byzantines, Muslims, Crusaders, and Ottomans. Political center. Throughout history, Jerusalem has been a capital of several kingdoms and empires, reflecting its political importance. Biblical significance. David's capital. King David is said to have conquered Jerusalem from the Jebusites and established it as the capital of the United Kingdom of Israel, as depicted in the Old Testament. See 2 Samuel 5:6-9. Solomon's Temple. King Solomon built the first temple in Jerusalem, a central place of worship for the Israelites and the dwelling place of the Ark of the Covenant. 1 Kings 6. Spiritual symbol. Jerusalem is frequently mentioned in the Psalms and other biblical texts as a symbol of spiritual longing and a future era of peace. Jesus' crucifixion. In the New Testament, Jerusalem is the city where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected. Central events in Christian belief. Check Matthew 26-28 for more. Center of early Christianity. End times prophecy. In prophetic literature, Jerusalem is often associated with eschatological themes such as the final judgment and God's ultimate rule. See Revelation 21:2. Must-visit sites. The Western Wall, a remaining part of the Second Temple, is a sacred site for the Jews. Temple Mount, home to significant religious structures, including Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. Church of the Holy Sepulchre, venerated as the site of Jesus' crucifixion, burial, and resurrection. City of David excavations. Ongoing excavations in the ancient city of David have uncovered structures and artifacts from various biblical periods, including remnants from the time of King David and Solomon. The discovery of the Siloam Pool, where Jesus is said to have healed a blind man, check John 9:7 for reference, adds insight into New Testament history. Pilate's ring. A ring bearing the name of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who presided over Jesus' trial, was discovered at Herodium. Though found earlier, the inscription was only deciphered recently, providing rare archaeological evidence of a key New Testament figure. Givati parking lot dig. The large-scale excavation near the city of David has unearthed a large building, possibly linked to the Accra, a stronghold that played a role in the events leading to the Maccabean revolt, mentioned in the books of the Maccabees. Western Wall tunnels. Recent explorations in the tunnels have led to the discovery of new sections of the Western Wall and streets from the Second Temple period. These findings add depth to our understanding of the architecture and daily life during biblical times. Mount Zion excavations. Archaeologists have been unearthing various structures from different periods, including what may be evidence of the Babylonian destruction of an event described in Kings 25. Discovery of ancient seals and bullae. Various seals and bullae, clay seal impressions, have been found bearing names of individuals mentioned in the Bible. These provide valuable insight into administrative practices and the authenticity of biblical characters. First Temple period wall. The uncovering of a massive defensive wall from the First Temple period has shed light on Jerusalem's layout and defences during the times of the kings of Judah. Jericho biblical account. Biblical account of the Battle of Jericho. Preparation. Joshua 2 for more. Joshua sends spies to Jericho and they are protected by Rahab, a prostitute in the city who hides them from the king of Jericho. Rahab declares her faith in the God of Israel. Crossing the Jordan. Check Joshua 3-4. The Israelites miraculously cross the Jordan River and stones are set up as a memorial to God's intervention. Consecration. Joshua 5:1-12. The Israelites are circumcised and the Passover is observed in preparation for the battle. Instructions of the battle. Joshua 5:13-6-5. Joshua encounters a divine messenger who provides specific instructions for the battle. They are to march around the city once a day for 6 days and 7 times on the 7th day, the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant and blowing trumpets. The battle. Joshua 6, verse 6-21. The Israelites faithfully follow the instructions, and on the 7th day, after the 7th circuit around the city, they shout and the walls of Jericho collapse. The Israelites enter the city and destroy everything, sparing only Rahab and her family as promised. Destruction and curse. Joshua 6, verse 22-27. The city is set on fire and a curse is pronounced on anyone who would rebuild Jericho. Rahab joins the Israelites and becomes part of the lineage of David and Jesus, as mentioned in Matthew chapter 1, verse 5. The story of Jericho has been subject of much archaeological investigation and scholarly debate, with varying opinions on the historicity of the event. However, within the biblical narrative, it was a powerful demonstration of God's power and faithfulness to his people. The debate over the age of Jericho and the timing of destruction as described in the Bible remains a somewhat contentious issue. It illustrates the challenges of aligning archaeological evidence with ancient texts and the multifaceted nature of historical inquiry. Biblical chronology. Some scholars attempt to date the Battle of Jericho by correlating it with the biblical chronology. A literal interpretation of the Bible's genealogies and timelines places the conquest of Canaan around 1400 before Christ era. Archaeological evidence. Kathleen Kenyon's excavations in 1950s led to a dating of Jericho's destruction around 1550 before Christ era, a century or more before the biblical derived date for the conquest. Her findings suggested that the city walls were destroyed by an earthquake and the city was uninhabited during the time the Israelites would have arrived. Challenges to Kenyon's conclusions. Other archaeologists, such as Brian Wood, have disputed Kenyon's conclusions, arguing for a re-evaluation of the pottery and other artifacts found on the site. Wood's research supports a date closer to 1400 BC for the city's destruction, aligning more closely with the biblical account. Continuous habitation. Jericho is considered one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world, with the evidence of habitation going back to around 9000 BCE during the pre-pottery Neolithic period. This long history adds complexity to the dating of specific events and layers within the site. Interpretation differences in archaeological interpretation, methodologies, and assumptions have contributed to ongoing debates. Some scholars also question how literally the biblical account should be taken and how it relates to the archaeological record. Early excavations. Archaeological evidence and excavations. Early excavations. British archaeologist Charles Warren first excavated Jericho in 1860s. Ernest and Carl Watzinger conducted excavations from 1907 to 1909, uncovering evidence of a fortified city. Kathleen Kenyon's work, 1952 to 1958, found evidence of a destruction layer dating to around 1550 BC, leading to a conclusion that conflicted with a biblical timeline. Brian Wood's re-examined Kenyon's findings and argued for a redating closer to 1400 BC, more consistent with the biblical account. Artifacts and features. Excavations have revealed fortification walls, a massive stone tower, pottery and other artifacts reflecting a long history of habitation. Evidence of a violent destruction, including collapsed walls and burned layers, has been identified but debated concerning its dating. Neolithic period. The site shows signs of occupation as far back as 9000 BC, including the discovery of a large stone tower and walls from the pre-pottery Neolithic period. Ongoing research remains ongoing with new technologies and methods, new insights into the site's history. Petra, an ancient city in modern-day Jordan, is not directly mentioned in the biblical text, but it is believed to be associated with biblical history. It is often identified with Selah, a place referred to in the Old Testament, particularly in the book of Isaiah and 2 Kings. Selah means rock in Hebrew, Petra means rock in Greek, both referring to the city's rugged terrain. Edomites, Nabateans, and Romans occupied the city at various times, and it was an important crossroad for trade routes. Some scholars and traditions also associate Petra with the location where Moses struck a rock to bring forth water. Numbers 20, verse 10 and 11 for more. And as a place of refuge during the prophesied end times in some interpretations of biblical prophecy. Its connection to biblical history is more cultural and historical than direct, and interpretations may vary. Petra, located in southern Jordan, is renowned for its intricate and unique architecture, which is carved directly into the rose-red sandstone cliffs. The Treasury Al-Khazaneh, perhaps the most iconic structure. The Treasury features a grand facade adorned with Corinthian capitals, friezes, and figures. Despite its name, it's likely a temple or royal tomb. The elaborate carving showcases Greek and Roman architectural influences. The monastery, Ad-Dia, similar to the treasury but larger. The monastery's facade is impressive and adorned with Hellenistic architectural elements. It is situated atop of a mountain and may have been a Nabatean royal tomb or a later Christian monastery. The royal tombs are a series of grand burial sites, including the urn tomb, the silk tomb, the Corinthian tomb, and the palace tomb. Each has unique elements reflecting the Nabatean artistry. High place of sacrifice. The open-air altar is carved into mountain peaks and was likely used for religious ceremonies and sacrifices. Street of facades. Lined with numerous tombs and houses, the street highlights the residential aspect of Petra with varying architectural styles and decorations. The Great Temple, an expansive complex. The Great Temple showcases columned hallways, a grand staircase, and intricate carvings, reflecting a blend of Nabatean, Roman, and Byzantine influences. Roman theatre. Carved into the hillside, the theatre could accommodate around 4,000 spectators through initially Nabatean The Romans later expanded it, blending the two cultures' architectural styles. Byzantine Church. Excavations have revealed a 5th century Byzantine church adorned with mosaics reflecting the Christian era in Petra. Hydraulic engineering. The Nabateans were skilled at water management, as seen in Petra's complex system of dams, channels, and reservoirs. The engineering prowess helped sustain life in the desert. Petra's intricate architecture is a testament to the artistic and engineering capabilities of the Nabateans and later the inhabitants. The combination of Eastern tradition with Greco-Roman influences creates a unique aesthetic that continues to fascinate archaeologists, historians, and tourists. Its status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site helps preserve this architectural marvel for future generations. The Nabateans were an ancient Arabian people who founded the city of Petra and controlled a vast trade network. While there's no direct mention of the Nabateans in the Bible, their territory overlaps with areas mentioned in biblical texts, particularly the lands of Edom and Midian. Some scholars speculate connections between the Nabateans and the biblical Ishmaelites, descendants of Abraham's son Ishmael. Additionally, the Nabatean control of key trade routes may have indirectly impacted the economic landscape during biblical times. However, specific conditions between the Nabateans and biblical figures are mostly indirect and part of a broader historical and cultural context. Discovery of the Red Sea Scrolls. Qumran is an archaeological site where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered between 1947 and 1956. Found in 11 caves, the scrolls consist of over 900 manuscripts, including texts from Hebrew Bible, apocryphal works, and sectarian writings. The scrolls date from the 3rd century before Christ to the 1st century after Christ, CE, and are believed to have been created by a Jewish sect, possibly the Essenes. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls significantly impacted biblical studies by providing the earliest known copies of Hebrew biblical texts. These manuscripts have helped scholars understand the textual development of the Bible, shed light on Jewish religious life and thought during the Second Temple period, and provided valuable context for the emergence of Christianity. Overall, the scrolls have deepened the understanding of the historical and cultural background of both Judaism and Christianity. Bethlehem, located in the West Bank, is historically significant as the birthplace of Jesus Christ, according to the New Testament. The Gospels of Matthew and Luke specifically identify Bethlehem as the birth site, fulfilling a prophecy in the Old Testament, Micah 2, that the Messiah would come from this town. As a result, Bethlehem has become a major center of Christian pilgrimage and a symbol of the Christmas story. The Church of Nativity, built over the traditional site of Jesus' birth, stands as a lasting testament to Bethlehem's profound significance in Christian and tradition. Church of the Nativity, built in the 4th century under Emperor Constantine, the church is one of the oldest continuously used Christian places of worship. It is constructed over a cave that has been traditionally venerated as the birthplace of Jesus, as identified by early Christian scholars. The church has undergone various renovations and expansions over the centuries and includes intricate mosaics, paintings, and architectural features from different periods. It was designated a UNESCO World Site in 2012. Shepherd's Field, located near Bethlehem. This site is traditionally associated with the shepherds who, according to the Gospel of Luke, were visited by angels announcing the birth of Christ. Several churches and monasteries have been built in the area to commemorate the event. A chapel in Bethlehem. Milk Grotto, a chapel in Bethlehem believed to be the place where the Holy Family took refuge during the slaughter of the innocents before fleeing to Egypt. Tradition holds that a drop of Mary's milk turned the cave's stones white. Other archaeological features. Bethlehem and its surroundings contain various other historical and archaeological sites, including ancient tombs, aqueducts, and remnants of historical fortifications. Recap of archaeological sites and their biblical importance. Jerusalem, a city rich in biblical history, containing sites like Western Wall, Temple Mount, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, pivotal to Judaism, Christianity and Islam. Jericho, known for its ancient walls and the biblical Battle of Jericho, its excavations have sparked debates over the alignment of archaeological evidence with the biblical text. Petra, though not directly mentioned in the Bible, it's often associated with places like Selah and possibly with biblical figures like Ishmaelites. Qumran, the discovery site of the Dead Sea Scrolls, offering the earliest known Hebrew biblical texts and insights into Jewish religious life during the Second Temple period. Bethlehem, renowned as the birthplace of Jesus with significant sites like the Church of the Nativity, Shepherd's Field and Milk Grotto. These archaeological treasures not only bring the ancient world to life, but deepen our understandings of biblical text and their historical context. Scholars, archaeologists, students, and anyone interested in biblical history are encouraged to delve into these sites further, whether through academic study, participation in archaeological digs, or exploration via guided tours. There is a wealth of knowledge and insight to be gained.